I never thought my life would turn into one of those stories you hear and think, that could never be me. But it was. My name doesn't matter. All you need to know is that I was a woman who loved deeply, too deeply maybe. I trusted my husband. I trusted my sister. And that trust became my undoing. But what hurt the most wasn't the betrayal. It was what came after. This is my story. We weren't perfect, but we were happy. At least, that's what I told myself. James, my husband, was charming, intelligent, the kind of man people instantly liked. He had this way of making you feel seen. And my sister, Emma, was my best friend. We grew up sharing everything. Clothes, secrets, even dreams. When she lost her job and needed a place to stay, it wasn't even a question. I welcomed her in. I told her, stay as long as you need. We're family. And for a while it felt like the three of us had created something special. A little bubble of support and love, but bubbles always burst. I didn't notice it at first. The late night talks in the kitchen. The inside jokes I wasn't part of. I remember walking in on them laughing once, and the laughter died the second I entered the room. James brushed it off. We were just talking about your birthday. Emma smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was overthinking. Because who wants to believe that the two people you love most might be hiding something from you? But then I started noticing other things. Her perfume in our car, his shirt in her laundry, the silence when I walked into a room, and still I pushed it down because the truth was too heavy, too dark. So I stayed quiet until I couldn't anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something in my gut, it screamed at me. I got up, quietly. I walked down the hall. Emma's door was slightly open, and there he was, my husband, in her bed. Their whispers turned into silence the second they saw me. No one moved. No one said a word. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just left the room. I don't remember how I made it back to our bedroom, or how I managed to breathe. But what I do remember is that in that moment, something inside me shattered, and it never came back. The next morning, I was gone. I left a note. One sentence. You broke us. A call started. Texts. Apologies. Excuses. Emma said it was a mistake. James said he was confused. But I wasn't confused. I was clear for the first time in a long time. And the clearest truth of all was this. They didn't just betray me. They chose to. Every secret kiss. Every lie. Every moment I felt crazy. They chose them and left me to pick up the pieces. But the real pain, it didn't come from catching them. It came in the weeks that followed. It came when I realized how many parts of my life were built around lies. It came from the silence when I wanted to call my sister. From the ache when I reached over in bed and remembered he wasn't there. It came from mourning two people who were still alive and mourning the version of me that trusted them. That was the deepest cut. I don't hate them. Not anymore. I've learned that sometimes the people you'd give everything for will be the ones who take everything. But I also learned that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about reclaiming yourself. I'm not broken. I'm not bitter. I'm still here, and every day I choose me. This was my Broken Trust Diary. But healing isn't a straight line. It's a storm, quiet at times, and then suddenly loud. Some mornings I woke up feeling almost okay. Other days, I didn't get out of bed. I'd hear a song, smell a cologne, see a photo I forgot to delete, and the pain would come rushing back like it had never left. I tried talking to people, but no one really knew what to say. They looked at me with sympathy, with that same look people give when they're thankful it's not them. And slowly, I stopped talking. Because how do you explain that your world ended and everyone else just kept going? I started going to therapy. At first, I hated it. I didn't want to be seen as broken. But something my therapist said stuck with me. She said, "What happened to you is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their wounds." And for the first time, I realized their betrayal wasn't about me. It was about who they were willing to become when no one was watching. That shift, that changed everything. I stopped asking why they did it and started asking what I needed, what I wanted, and slowly, I started doing little things just for me. I went to the beach alone for the first time in years. I read books I never made time for. I joined a pottery class and made the ugliest vase you've ever seen. But I smiled the whole way home. I stopped waiting for closure from them, because truthfully, closure doesn't come in apologies. It comes in choices. I chose to forgive, not for them, but for me, because I refused to let their betrayal become my identity. I am not the woman who got cheated on. I'm the woman who walked away, who faced the truth, who stood up from the wreckage and rebuilt her life one breath at a time. People still ask if I ever spoke to them again. The answer is once. Emma reached out after a year. She said she missed me, that she was sorry. I told her I wished her well. But some bridges don't need to be burned. They need to be demolished. And James, he sent me a letter. 4 pages long. I never opened it, because I already know how it ends. This isn't a revenge story. It's a survival story. It's a reminder that even the deepest pain doesn't get to define you, unless you let it. If you're listening to this, if your trust has been broken by a lover, a friend, even family, I want you to hear me. You are not weak for feeling shattered. You are not stupid for believing in love. You are not to blame for someone else's betrayal. You are allowed to fall apart. But don't stay there. Please, don't stay there. Because there is life after the heartbreak. There is light after the truth. There is you still standing. And that is everything. This was my Broken Trust Diary. But it's not the end of my story. It's the beginning of who I'm becoming. There were nights when I still whispered his name in my sleep. Mornings where I reached for a coffee mug he once used before remembering he wasn't coming back. I wish I could say I stopped missing them. But grief, it's not just about losing people. It's about losing the version of yourself that felt safe around them. The girl who believed that love was enough. I had to learn how to walk through my home again without feeling haunted. Every room held a memory. Every drawer, a piece of a life I no longer had. At first, I wanted to erase everything. The furniture, the curtains, the dishes we picked together. But I didn't. I made a choice, not to destroy, but to reclaim. I repainted the walls. I moved the bed. I took down the photos. And in their place, I put up quotes that reminded me of my worth. It was like I was teaching the house and myself how to breathe again. I didn't tell many people what happened, because when betrayal comes from inside your own blood, it's not just shame you carry, it's disbelief. People say family is forever, but sometimes family is the first place you learn how to hurt. Emma and we grew up promising to protect each other from the world. I just never imagined I'd need protection from her. And James, there were moments I thought we'd grow old together. I imagined gray hair, porch swings, and grandchildren. But the truth is, some people are only meant to be chapters, not the whole book. I'm writing a new chapter now. It's quiet. It's not always easy, but it's mine. I take long walks without checking my phone. I've started cooking meals just for myself, setting the table, lighting a candle like I'm worth showing up for. And I've learned something powerful. I was never hard to love. They were just not ready to love someone who knew her own value. If you're listening to this, and you're in the thick of it, if your heart feels like it's cracked beyond repair, please hear me. You are not alone. There is a version of you on the other side of this pain. A version that laughs again, sleeps again, loves again. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, you'll look in the mirror and the woman staring back at you, she'll be someone you chose. Not because of who you lost, but because of who you refused to lose yourself. So take your time, grieve, break, heal, then rise. Not for them, not for revenge, but for you. Because you, my dear, you are worth the rebuild. And when they look back, they'll realize they didn't just lose someone they loved. They lost someone who loved them through everything. And that's not your burden to carry anymore. This was my Broken Trust Diary. But it's also my love letter to survival. To every woman who thought she wouldn't make it, you will. And when you do, you'll be unstoppable.